Welcome in. It is day 5 of the 2026 World Cup. We have 2 more groups beginning their journey today here in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. It is Groups G and Group H. Belgium and Egypt will kick things off in Group G, followed up by Iran and New Zealand, a group where there is no true second place front runner. Obviously, Belgium is your first place front runner there. Everybody else is kind of just there. And with New Zealand, the lowest ranked FIFA side through the FIFA rankings, how will that play out? That will be interesting to watch. And in Group H, kicking off the day will be Spain and Cabo Verde. Cabo Verde, the second smallest nation to ever qualify for a World Cup. Spain obviously looking to add a second star to their shirt. And will star Lamine Yamal play tomorrow? They're saying he's healthy, but how healthy is he actually? We'll obviously talk about that. And then in the other game in Group H, it is Saudi Arabia going up against Uruguay. We remember what Saudi Arabia did to kick off the 2022 World Cup, beating Argentina in their first group stage game. Didn't make it out of the group, but made a big statement. Uruguay looking to add a third World Cup trophy to their trophy case. Is this the year they finally make it back to somewhere near the semifinals? We'll have to see. So fasten your seatbelts because we got a lot to get to, and let's get after it. Welcome in to World Cup preview, day 5 of the World Cup. As just mentioned, 2 more groups entering today. Let's just get straight into it. We're going chronological order today in time, so we will be bouncing back and forth between groups. So our kickoff of the day, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, high noon in Atlanta. It is 2010 champion Spain going up against debutantes Cabo Verde. The biggest question in this game is Lamine Yamal fully healthy? It's obviously going to be a massive question because they're saying he's healthy, they're saying he's good to go, but he might not start. Well, folks, that tells me he's not healthy. They have plenty depth to figure this out. This game probably ends up looking like the Germany game that we saw yesterday against Curacao, but there's still a lot of interesting twists and turns a part of this match. And I mentioned that because Spain feels like they're going on a run here. It feels like they are kind of looking like they did in 2010, where they came off winning the Euro 2 years before, which of course they did in 2024. Feels like they may be hitting their peak right now. They have the talented side to do it. It's just the question of, can they figure it out in the knockout stages? Because it feels like they always get eliminated in the round of 16 post that World Cup in 2010. And in 2014, I don't think they even made it out of the group stage. So they really haven't gone far in tournaments since they won the World Cup. This does feel like a talented enough team, though, that they will be fine and they will find a way to at least the semifinals. Now, for Cabo Verde, completely different story. It feels like they are going to need to have a little bit of magic help them out here. And I don't see that magic coming. Like I mentioned, this feels like it is going to be a repeat of the earlier game we saw yesterday between Germany and Curacao that ended 7-1. Spain is just the better team. And it is simple as that. There's no sugarcoating it. I'm expecting them to roll here. I'll go 5-1. This is such a good Spain team. I don't know if Cabo Verde can even get a goal in this game, to be truly honest with you. But it would be a obviously monumental achievement if they did pull that off. With that being said, I mean, there's not much else to be said about that Spain game. Let's move on to the second game of the day. It is Group G action as we keep bouncing back and forth. It is going to be from Seattle Stadium It is Belgium taking on Egypt. Now, I have mentioned before in the group preview episodes, this feels like the end, if the end hasn't already come for the Belgium Golden Generation. A lot of players are already gone. They're now trying to develop some new players that will keep this run rolling. They have the group to at least win it. Do they have anything past that? We'll obviously have to get into that right now. With this Belgium team, not a lot of that core from, I would say, 2018, because that is when they went the farthest. They finished third place, lost to England beat England in the third place game, I should say, lost to France in the semifinal. Romelu Lukaku still on this team. Kevin De Bruyne still on this team. This is obviously going to be their last World Cups. How does Belgium manage this? Because they do have some good youth talent, but they just aren't at that level that, that former generation was. And we kind of saw the beginning of the end of this generation back in 22, where they just got truly thrown into a very tough group. I know they had Croatia in that group. They had Canada in that group, who obviously didn't end up mattering there, but they have a easy enough group in this World Cup that they can win this group probably with a little bit of ease. The question is, past that, what do they have? And we aren't really going to know that until we get there. I look back to their March window. I know they played the United States. They beat them 5-2. In that same window, they drew with Mexico 1-1. Now, leading up to this World Cup, they beat Croatia 2-0, and they beat Tunisia 5-0. So they still have some goal-scoring prowess. The question is, can it just develop on this international stage? That is going to be a major factor for them here. Now, on the other side, for Egypt, Mohamed Salah, probably his last World Cup also. But one man cannot carry a team. And I'm struggling to find players that can, help out Mohamed Salah here. Now, I will be honest, I am not the, biggest watcher of Egyptian football. So maybe I am completely missing on somebody, and that could be completely on me. But you look at their run into this World Cup, looking at their 5 most recent games, the most recent one, they lost to Brazil 2-1. I believe they beat Russia 1-0, which is just kind of crazy to hear just because obviously Russia's been suspended by FIFA. They drew against Spain 0-0. They beat Saudi Arabia 4-0. They drew Nigeria 2-0. That is from newest, oldest result. So I think Egypt can put up a fight in this game. I just think Belgium have the better team here. I think Belgium slightly ekes out this game. The thing is, though, this game can easily end up in a draw. I'm talking like 1-1. Kind of similar to the Switzerland-Qatar game we saw on Saturday, where Switzerland controlled that game, but Qatar, in the final minutes, just stole an equalizer, stole 2 points from Switzerland, ended that game level. It feels like that could be a possibility here. Belgium control all the game. They get a goal, obviously, but then Egypt steal it at the end to get a draw. It feels like this game could follow that script also. We'll have to see. But as of now, I'm going with the draw here just because I don't really know if I fully trust this Belgium team yet. And like I said, they do have a easy group to win this. But overall, I feel like the Egypts of the world, the Irans of the world, maybe not the New Zealands of the world, can give Belgium fits. And I may be completely reading this wrong, and maybe I should take into effect more of those results that we've seen recently from them with those, 5-0 blowouts, 5-2 victories, the 1-1 draw. Maybe I'm just not reading into it enough, and that could be completely true. Overall, though, I'm taking the draw here just because I do think Egypt can possibly steal it late. We are now traveling down to South Beach. It is our third game of the day, a 6 p.m. kickoff at the Miami Stadium. It is Saudi Arabia taking on Uruguay. Just a very interesting difference in teams matching up against each other for, I believe, the first time ever. This is going to be quite the interesting development in clashes of culture that we are about to see. I'm not really sure how to read this game because Uruguay should be winning this game probably quite easily. But you look at how they've done in the lead up to this World Cup. Back in October, they picked the last game of the October window was their last win. The 2-1 win against Uzbekistan. The November window, they drew 0-0 with Mexico, got blown out of the water 5-1 against the United States. There was talk of maybe forcing Marcelo Bielsa to resign at that point. Came out press conference, explained what went wrong, basically. He's still in the job. And then you look at the lead up, their games in 2026. They had a 1-1 draw against England and a 0-0 draw against Algeria. Now, that does not bode confidence in me. Those are obviously the England game. It's a different animal. But everything else kind of feels disappointing here for a team that feels like they have a lot more talent than what they're putting out. Now, on the other side, Saudi Arabia haven't had the best of run-ups here. A 0-0 draw against Senegal, a 3-0 win against Puerto Rico, a 2-1 loss against Ecuador, a 2-1 loss against Serbia, and a 4-0 loss to Egypt. Not the greatest of run-ups, I would say. New manager, too. I forgot about that. Hervé Renard stepped down, I believe, 2 months ago. So they are under a new manager. I feel like Saudi Arabia are kind of dead in the water here. Now, are they actually? I don't know, because we thought they were dead in the water in 2022, and they just barely missed out making the knockout stages in a quite difficult group. Uruguay, on the other hand, I feel like they should be doing better than what their results are saying. Now, I will say, weather conditions, I believe it's supposed to be like 86 degrees in Miami and rain/storms, which means it's going to be muggy. Truly, there's no better team, I think, that would be adapted for that than Uruguay. South America, got South American weather conditions. I expect them to take advantage of that. I like Uruguay in this game just because I don't really know if I have that much faith in this Saudi Arabia team. Now, I'm not saying they're, terrible. I'm just saying I haven't seen them enough under their new manager to make complete decisions on this. I don't trust when you switch managers right before a World Cup, because that tells me you have a systematic failure somewhere, and that's got to get figured out much sooner than, picking up wins at a World Cup. So I'll take Uruguay here, and we will close it out in Group G, your 9 p.m. kickoff on tonight, Monday night, from the Los Angeles Stadium. We've already seen this stadium once this World Cup. It is going to be Iran against New Zealand. Obviously has been a difficult run-up for Iran logistically into this World Cup. Everything geopolitically going along with that, moving their base camp, having their visas somewhat denied, somewhat accepted coming into this tournament. It's a mess. It's as simple as that. This is a complete and utter mess for Iran. How do you put that somehow behind you and just focus on what you're taking on the pitch? That's going to be the real question for me here, because Iran is the much better team than New Zealand. There is no doubt about that. But you actually have to show that on the field. If outside distractions become a big problem, New Zealand could spur an upset here. Looking into this, Iran, I believe the last matchup they took place in was against Gambia, a 3-1 victory. You look at some of their other results within these last 5 matches. They have a 2-1 loss against Nigeria, a 0-0 draw against Uzbekistan, a 0-0 draw against Cape Verde, and a 2-0 win against Tanzania. None of those results truly shock me, I guess I would say. I would have thought they would be getting points against Cape Verde, or 3 points, I should say, because they did get a point against Uzbekistan and Cape Verde. I would expect them to win those. Obviously, they did not, though. Overall, though, they are still the better team. They have better players. It is as simple as that. New Zealand feels like a one-man team, and that one man is Chris Wood. And as I mentioned with Egypt, one man cannot do everything, and that is going to be New Zealand's kind of kryptonite in this tournament. You look at their results most recently. They lost 1-0 to England. They lost 4-0 to Haiti. They beat Chile 4-1. They lost to Finland 2-0. They lost to Ecuador 2-0. This team struggles with scoring. It is as clear as day. If you cannot score, you cannot win games. That is going to be a massive, massive problem for New Zealand here. And it's part of the reason why I think this game isn't particularly close. And I think Iran put everything behind them, pull off somewhere around a 3-0 or 3-1 victory. So with that being said, that is going to wrap it up for the Day 5 preview. 4 great matches in front of us. I cannot wait to be back here, hopefully recapping them after that Iran-New Zealand game comes to an end. But for now, that is going to wrap it up for World Cup today. We'll be back, of course, tomorrow morning, preview all the action. Some nice names start popping up tomorrow. I'm talking about Mbappe. I'm talking about Haaland. I'm talking a lot of great players coming up. Can't forget Lionel Messi, of course. A lot of very interesting games coming up in these next few days as we close out match day 1 of the group stage. We only got 2 more days of this past today. So make sure you click like, make sure you click subscribe, tell anybody you know about it. Like I mentioned, probably going to be back here tonight recapping it all, but for sure we will be back tomorrow previewing all of day 6 action at the World Cup. So thank you so much for watching. We will see you again soon for another episode here on the Nick Burt Sports Network.